Hey there, it's Chapadong here, lead editor of content at dfsarmy.com, one-stop shopping all things daily fantasy sports. Use coupon code esports. I know League of Legends and CSGO and Rocket League are big things right now. Personally, not my bag, but coupon code esports does deliver a $20 off or a $20 first month, $20 period. That's the price, not $20 off. It is the price, and locks you into 20% off each month after that. So I just butchered that, and I apologize. But bottom line is, down there in the description, you'll see the coupon code esports, $20 off your first month. What you get is you get everything from top to bottom that we offer, all sports, all sites, everything, all of the discussion. The discussion's really, really important right now, because the discussion is not only talking coronavirus, but stock market adjustments to your 401k with professional stock advisors, guys that have been on the trading floor as careers. These are guys that can guide you in these big areas, as well as any of the sports that we're talking about, horse racing, poker, anything. I'm going to talk horse racing today, because I think that it's something that people are kind of interested in, or at least if you're at all like me, man, you should be, because it's a lot of fun, and there's a very, very hyper simple way to get into this. So we'll dive in here in just a second. The trick that I want to tell you about your membership is you could join for $20 today, and then you could just go click pause, and for 30 days you get everything that we offer, and then after that 30 days you're still invited to our Slack channel rooms while everything is paused. And then when everything comes back, you click on pause and you start paying the $40 a month thereafter. It's a no-brainer. That's the easiest way to be cost effective in staying in touch with DFS and all of the other things we're branching out to, because this is a life community now. This is not just a sports community. We talk so many different things on such a different broad level that we can help so many people in so many different areas that for $20 you're kind of, in my opinion, you're kind of an idiot if you don't give it a shot. Either way, let's dive in and talk horse racing, because horse racing is something that I've been kind of into lately. It's something that I've always found fun, and with the help of Trey and Ryan, we've developed a little bit of a system. It's my little twist is a little bit different than theirs, and I'll show you mine. Mine's always focused on simplicity and getting a brand new Joe up to speed competitive quickly. And these guys go a little bit deeper, and they do a little bit more digging and a little bit of, and that's why it's very important. You can latch on to what I'm doing, but if you want to really take it to the next level, you need them. So you need to get inside the Slack channels and talk to them. The first thing that I do is I open the daily racing forum, drf.com, and I'm going to come down here to the live racing. It's generally in this little window here, at least that's where I've always found it, live odds. And then I'm going to pick the park that I'm looking to race. Gulfstream, 38 minutes to post. We'll go ahead and click them. We'll look at this first race. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the other windows you're going to want open. You go to FanDuel, you go to the horse racing, pop out here. And when it pops out, you look like this. You can come down here to Gulfstream Race 1. And now you can see their favorites. I will tell you this, Number Fire sucks. Gosh, they suck. Don't even look at that stuff. But it's going to list in order of the opening odds probably. It's going to adjust a little bit, tell you what's up and down. Most importantly, this is where you're going to see your payouts. I like to look at them here. You can look at them here through the results tab if you want to, but it's just easier for me to have these two windows open. Watch this one for the payouts, watch this one for the live odds. That's all I do. I don't need to pay for a racing form yet. I will eventually, but right now I'm trying to get to where within, say, 5 minutes of post time, I can go whap, 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 put my bets together and be done with it. Just like DFS, we're looking typically for kind of a system that we want to lather, rinse, repeat, and then we'll let the volatility flow through us. And there's a lot of volatility in horse racing, just like DFS, but this is one way to do it. And over 5 days in a row, I've been up about $20 a day, and I'm up about 125-ish or so overall. Had a couple of decent days up $50 or more, and I have a stop loss on myself right now of $50. If I lose $50 in a day, I call it a day, I quit, and I move on. But this is something that works. It's playing heavy favorites, heavy chalk. If you know me, you know what you get. And it's simple. We're relying on a grind. We're relying on a lot of small bets to add up over time and not get burned. And we do that by taking, say, 4 horses, the 4 favorites in the race, and we box them in an exacta. An exacta, if you don't know, is picking the first place and second place horse. And by picking 4 horses, 1, 2, 3, 4, then I can say, you know, some people will go to the window and place an exacta on the 1, 2, and then it has to be perfect. It has to be the 1 horse coming in first and the 2 horse coming in second. Some people will box that pick, which means it can come in 1, 2 or 2, 1. I'm doing that over 4 horses. 1, 2, 3, 4 can come in 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, 1, 3, 3, 1, whatever. As long as I have the top 2 horses in my 4 selected, I'm going to win. It doesn't always win money. Sometimes it brings you back 75% of what you paid, but a lot of times it brings back a small profit. And we can see this in this drf.com window of the live odds. If I was looking at it right now, I'm looking at a couple of ways to look at the 4 favorite horses I'm trying to pick. This is a 12-horse race. And I'll get into some nuances here in a minute. But if I'm just looking at the 4 horses, I would look probably here, 2 to 1, 5 to 1, 5 to 1, 6 to 1, right? Those are probably the 4 favorite horses. So I would say 2, 3, 4, 10. I would say I want to box the 2, 3, 4, and 10. $1 exacta box 2, 3, 4, 10, and that for $12 because it is 12 individual bets. The 2, 3, the 2, 4, the 3, 4, the 2, 10, the 3, 10, the 4, 10, and then running it back 10, 4, 10, 3, 10, 2, 4, 3, 4, 2, whatever. It is 12 individual bets. So it's going to cost you on a $1 box, it's going to cost you $12. So what you can do then is look at which ones pay. Right now, the 2 is the favorite horse of all. That's going to be the cheapest. If he wins, that's going to hurt you the most in terms of your money. You can come down here into the probable pays, and you can look at the 2 horse running across the chart this way. The 2, 3 comes in, it's 48. 2, 4 comes in, it's $30. 2, 5 comes in, it's 79. 2, 8 comes in, it's 101. 2, 9 comes in, it's 100. Now the problem is we wanted the 10 on this, and the 10 is down here, and it's if the 10 wins, this is the payout here. It doesn't go over past the 9, so we don't know. What we do know is that the 2, 4 at 29.40 is not a great combo. And by looking at the 4 at 5 to 1, the 10 at 5 to 1 is going to be about the same. Okay, so if I'm looking at the 2, 4, I don't really want that to win. It'll show me a small profit. This is based on a $2 bet. So for me to place a $12 bet at $1, it needs to pay out more than $24 for a $2 bet, right? Just double the math. So this is over a $24 payout right now, which means it would still be profitable to me. Cut it in half, and what are we at? $14.50 on a $1 bet on a $12 total bet. So it'd make me about $2, $2.50. And that may not sound like much to you. It may not be sexy, but it's going to work. It's going to add up over 10, 12, 15 races, over 5 days of 10 races each, 50 races. It's going to add up. It's going to teach you a lot about DFS too, in why you should be playing cash games, in why you should be grinding up a cash bankroll and not worrying so much about chasing the big tournaments. We all know in horse racing that chasing 20 to 1, 33 to 1, 37 to 1 isn't going to pay out that well. It's super sexy when it does. You may want to put down an 11, 12, 11, 12 exacta on this horse and pay up in the $1,000 range, but it's just never going to hit. So if you're willing to lose 500 times in a row, place that bet. It will come in eventually, but I'm going to be grinding up my bankroll differently. I'm going to win much, much, much more often, but just for smaller dollars. So it's just a cash game grind. As I look through here, another way for me to look at who's the favorite, obviously just the straight odds, but when I see 2 at 5 to 1, how am I going to tie break the 4 and the 10? I'm going to come down here to the win, place, and show pool, and I'm going to look at the money. And all racetracks have a big board that show this. So if you're at the racetracks, you can watch the live odds, you can watch the win, place, and show pool and do the exact same thing. I look at the 4, he's at $1,600. I look down here at the 10, he's at $1,700. So he's actually a little bit, the public is betting him a little harder. He's going to be a little bit more of a favorite. So I may choose, like I said, 2, 3, 4, 10, right? And if I'm looking at the place in the show bets, this is great. They're all going to add up. I can also click this little number here on my PC over to percentages. Who has the highest percentage of the pool? Who are the people betting on the most to win? Obviously the 2. And then I can see a 10% chance on the 3, on the 4, and down here on the 10. So again, 2, 3, 4, 10. This is why I'm betting these horses, is because they are garnering most of the money. They are garnering the heavy favorites. Now I'm rooting for it not to be the 2 and the 4 that come in. I'm rooting for it to be something like 3-2. Because if I go back to their probable pays and it's 3-2 instead of 2-3, 2-3 pays $43, 3-2 pays $45, makes a little bit extra scratch, right? 4-2 pays $34, 2-4 pays $29. See, by getting that favorite to come in second, it's going to work out a little bit better. It's going to pay a little bit more. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that heavy favorite to actually come in second place. And it happens more often than you would think. So this is just the general idea of where I'm going to find these bets, how I'm going to place these bets. It takes me less than 2 minutes to just look and go bing, 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 and there's my 4 horses. There are exceptions to this rule, and I'll cover those. I don't have an example because we don't have multiple races going on, but I'll cover them. If your race is really, really big, like this one, 12 horses or more, 11 horses or more, I may, when I'm looking through the pools here and I'm having trouble deciding, I've got like 4 or 5 horses, like see this 9 has, he's got a decent chance too, right? We've got 29% here, 10, 11, 12, and then almost 10% here. If I'm looking at these guys here, I might include that 5th horse. The problem is adding that 5th horse to the box takes it from a $12 bet to a $20 bet. So I have to go in here and look at are many of these $20 bet on the $1 is a $40 bet on the $2. So I need to come across here. Are they still all over 40 bucks? This one's not. If I bet 20 bucks on this race and the 2-4 comes in, it's only going to pay me 15 bucks back. So it's a loss. Now and there's one here on the 2-9 that's going to lose me 50 cents. Now, when I look at this though, I see that there's only a couple of combos that are going to really burn me. The 2-4 and maybe the 2-9. So if I come down here to the 9, but even the 9-2, because you see how these are a little shifted off, they're not lined up quite right. So even the 9-2 is profitable. The 10-2 is not. He's borderline profitable. So if I'm looking at these horses, there are only a few combos that actually cost me a little bit of money. And they don't cost me, I just don't get all of my money back. So what I'm going to do in that case is I'm probably, if I was going to run that 5-horse box, I'm going to root pretty hard for that 2 to come in second place, or for somebody else to upset him and it come in 4-3 or 5-3 or 10-4 or something like that that's going to pay me better. I can live with the fact that out of all of those 20 combos, remember $1 per bet, 20 combos, only 2 or 3 are going to wind up hurting me. So I don't mind taking that chance on the chance that something goofy might happen. What I don't want is I don't want the 12 to win the race. If the 12 comes in first or second, then I'm just screwed and I lose everything, all 12 bucks or all 20 bucks, whatever it is I did. That's excuse number 1, or that's deviation number 1. Instead of going from 4 horses in your box, when the race gets big, gets out to 11, 12 horses or more, go ahead and box that 5th horse. Okay, now the second one would be going the other way. If the race is really, really small, like say 8 horses or less, mostly 7 or less, it doesn't make much sense if there's only 7 horses in the race to box 4 of them. You're boxing more than half the field. And if there's a heavy favorite in there, it's not going to pay very well because there's just no money in that race. There's only 7 horses. Just, the money gets all concentrated in a couple of areas. So what you really want to do then is cut down from 4 horses in your box to 3. It's going to require a little bit more precision, but you've got less options in the race to miss. So it becomes a $6 bet instead of a $12 bet. Okay, so you would need these payout numbers under the probable pays tab. You would need these payout numbers to be more than $12. Because again, a $1 bet costs you $6 when you box 3 horses, but if you are wanting to track the $2 bets here, it needs to be double your bet, which is $6 would need to pay out 12 to a $2 bet for you to be able to tell. If it's over $12, then you know that your $6 bet is going to make money on the $1. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. But that's all I'm doing is I'm cutting these numbers in half because I'm playing $1 boxes instead of $2 boxes. So that's kind of deviation number 1. 1A is if the race gets really, really big, you bet a 5th horse. If the race gets really, really small, you cut it down to 3 horses. Your bet number changes accordingly. Now from here, you can come down and deviate even a little bit more. And this isn't exactly the best to look at, but there's another little trick that I'm picking up on. If one horse is way heavily favored, like this horse is getting really, really heavily favored, if he starts approaching even money, which meaning this starts, even money would be certainly, 1-to-1 odds. Or if the right-hand number is bigger than the left-hand number, it's paying out worse than even odds, meaning I've got to put up more than $1 to win $1. That's starting to get ludicrous. So what I'm going to do, yeah, it's almost a sure thing, but it's really not in horse racing, so it's not really worth the risk. It's sort of like playing a pitcher in baseball who's a minus 400 money line. I mean, everybody in the world is going to be on that guy, so you're almost better off getting off of him because you're not going to get paid if you're on him. You're going to get paid if you're off of him usually. So it's sort of the same thing. As this number starts to approach even money here on this 2-horse starts coming down to 8 to 5, 7 to 5, 6 to 5. When it gets down like that, 3 to 2, whatever, then I'm going to start considering running him against the entire field. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to watch this win percentage number or the win dollars number. And if it's just giant, if it's just over everybody else here, like this 28's getting there, but I'd like to see it at like 40% just as a target. And I see it here and nobody else is even at 10%. Then what I've got is I've got a massive favorite sitting here in the 2-hole. And this may evolve as we talk. This may get down lower, closer to that. But what you're looking at as it gets closer to even money is you're looking at playing this guy against the entire field. So that would be how you would, I guess, state that bet is you would key the 2 over the field, which means 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, 2, 8, 2, 9, 2, 10, 2, 11, 2, 12. I don't care what order they come in. As long as the 2 wins, then that bet would pay the exact. I would also run it back, and I would have the 2 in the place. I would key the field over the 2. So now I've got it either way. I've got everybody coming in first as long as the 2 comes in second, or I've got the 2 winning and anybody else coming in second place. And then I don't matter. As long as the 2-horse places first or second, I don't care what the combination is. That bet gets expensive because if you watch, it's this, this would be a $1 bet, right? The 2-1, the 2-3, the 2-4, these are dollar bets. So this would be a $1 bet, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, $11 bet. Run it back the other way. It's a $22 bet for a $1 box to run the 2 in either first or second place against the field. $22 bet is pretty unreasonable. That's got to pay $44. So if I look down here, there's close to break even. There's a loser. There's a loser. There's a loser. These numbers need to be over $44. There aren't a ton of losers, so it actually makes a little bit of sense. But sometimes in these races, you will find there's a lot of losing bets in there. So if there's 5, 6, 7, 8 combos out of 22 combos, I'm probably not going to bet that. I will narrow things down. I will cut out the 35 to 1 odds, the 34 to 1, and I will cut it down to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 horses, and that turns it into a $16 bet instead of a $22 bet. Saves me a few bucks. So a $16 bet, if you're following along with the math, needs to pay more than $32 down here. Now all of a sudden there's only one loser on the board. This one even makes us some money. This one even makes us a little bit of money. So all of a sudden I've skewed the odds more in my favor by cutting down some prices. I just can't have one of these long shot horses come in first or second. And what you're going to find is when this guy gets closer to even odds, there are a lot of times when he comes in second place. So if he comes in first, great, it's not going to pay as much. If he comes in second and like the 17 to 1 somehow wins, you're going to get paid really, really well. That would be the 1-2 combo. The 1 horse winning and the 2 combo pays $142 or $71.20 on the dollar bet. That ain't bad for a $16 bet, getting back $71. It does happen. So that would be deviation number 3. If the race gets too big, bet a 5th horse in your box. If the race gets too small, bet a third, only 3 horses in your box. If there's an overwhelming favorite approaching even money, consider boxing him over the entire field and then consider boxing the field over him. So that as long as that even money horse comes in first or second, you're good to go. In that, you might chop out some of the higher odds, like say over 30 to 1. If he's more of a long shot than 30 to 1, you just go ahead and omit him from your box to save a couple of bucks here and there on these horses that have very, very little chance of coming in first or second. They do happen. It does screw you, but it doesn't happen around. Most of the time, you're going to hit that 2 horse coming in first or second, and then all of a sudden, one of these other wackier combos, but not the truly wacky combo, comes in next, and you end up making some money that way. And the 4th and final way to deviate is if you really can't decide how any of these are going to go. There's either a lot of 10%, favorites, a lot of guys that are like all 3 to 1 or something like that in a race. You can't decide which one. A lot of times what I'll do is I will see this big heavy favorite in here and then everybody else is about the same and it's like 4 or 5 or 6 horses and I can't decide how to cut it down to 4 horses. Then I'll probably not take the even money horse or the odds on horse. I'll probably take the second horse. In this case, that would be this 5 to 1 on the 4, right? That's the second favorite horse in this race. Everything else is worse odds than that. The 2 is the favorite, the 4 is the second favorite. So I would probably take the 4 and I would do what is called a $2, $5 win place show. I would put $2 on him to win, 5 on him to place, and 5 on him to show. If you don't know what those mean, win, of course he has to win the race outright. If he places, it means he can come in first or second, and if he shows, he can come in first, second, or third. And what we're hoping for is the 4 to win the race outright, because then it pays on all 3 of those bets: the $2 win, the $5 place, and the $5 show. And if he misses first place but comes in second, he places on the $5 place and the $5 show. So I get a couple of those bets. That can be a profitable structure as well. You're going to put out $12, $2, $5, $5. But when the thing sweeps across the board, you can get back $24, $30, whatever on your $12 bet. And that's what's going to grind up a bankroll. So there's a few different ways to handle this. It's a lot to cover in 20 minutes, but there's a few ways to handle this. Again, typically, pick the 4 favorites, box them in a $1 box. 2, 3, 4, 10 in this case. And that's your default for this race. No big deal. You're rooting a little bit against the 2 since he's the favorite. You'd rather him come in second place. Maybe even a wacky 3-4 combo would be great. But you're going to make a little bit of money more often than not on this type of race. Sometimes you will net a loss. You'll put in $12. You only get back 10. But most of the time you'll get back 14, 16, sometimes 30. You'll see how this works if you play these slates. Number 2 is if the race gets really, really big, consider adding a 5th horse to that box. But no, remember how to do the math and the probable pays, that your $20 bet is now looking for more than a $40 payout, so this bet would be profitable, this one wouldn't. If the race is really, really small, consider cutting off that 4th horse to just 3 horses. In that case, it's a $6 bet, and you need more than $12 payouts, so all of these would be profitable if you're only betting 3 horses in any order. And then if there's an overwhelming favorite approaching even money odds, consider boxing him over the entire field. I call that, in this case, the 2 horse. I call it an all-to-all. I don't know how I would read it at a window yet, but I would call it an all-to-all. I'm basically key boxing the 2 over the field. Is probably how I would state that at the window. But I'm going to eliminate some horses out of it because I don't want to pay $22 on this bet when a lot of these bets are going to come in at under $44 in the payout. I'm looking to cut some out. How do I choose to cut the fluff out? I take the longest odds horses and dump them. In this case, I would dump the 7, the 11, and the 12. It'd be gone. Everybody else would be in there. So instead of 11 horse, I'm down to like 8. It's a $16 bet. 2 over the field, and then the field over the 2 minus the 7, 11, and 12. It's a $16 bet, which means all of these have to pay out over $32, which really only 1 or 2 don't. So odds are, if that works, it's going to be a profitable bet for me. And then finally, consider if you've got you can't narrow it down to 4 or 5 horses that you like. Consider just taking not the odds-on favorite, but the second favorite, and placing $2 on him to win, 5 on him to show, and 5 on him to place, and 5 on him to show. 2, 5, 5 on the second favorite horse. That's 4 or 5 different bets that you can consistently make that take you no time to look at when it comes to these. When you can come in here 5 minutes to post time, this little red number, 5 minutes to post time, and you can just go, oh, 2, 3, 4, 10. Oh, looks like 4. Oh, maybe it's a big race. I want to include the 9, so that's a $20 bet. Whatever it is, go in and check your payouts, make sure that most of the combinations are profitable, and lay the bet. You did no research, you didn't buy a racing form, you didn't use a tip sheet, you didn't do anything. But that's the fastest way. Those 4 or 5 routine bets that I make, it's the fastest way to do very little research. Learn horse racing as you go, because you can make your bet in a couple of minutes, and then you can go into our Slack rooms here and start reading along with everybody else in the horse racing channel. And these are the experts. These are the guys you're really going to learn from. So you can get into getting a little bit of action easily, and then come in here and start asking people like Ryan and Trey and Fidon and some of these other guys that are really, really good horse bettors. You'll see them pick out their long shot picks, and they're this and they're that, and they hit at a good frequency. We did one yesterday where I put a $4 4 horse box, say 2, 3, 4, 10. But then a guy, Ryan, called a long shot like the 8, and I went, oh my God, he was really confident in the 8. So I'll keep my box here and do my system my way, but I'm going to put a $2 bet on the 8 to win. If the 8 wins, it screws my box. I'm out those $12. But the 8 was at like 20-1 or something ridiculous, and he was going to pay me like $40 on the win. Sure as shit, his 8 hit. It won. It screwed my box. But because I had the $2 win bet on the 8, it ended up paying me more than the $14. 12 for the box, 2 for the win. $14. It paid me like $40. I was up $26 on that bet alone just because I listened to one of the coaches. That's where the coaching in basically in DFS Army helps you at any sport on any level for any reason. So again, I'd encourage you to run down to the comment section, click the coupon code esports, or click the link, use the coupon code esports, get $20 for that first month. Consider pausing your membership. You still get the Slack channels and such. You still get to learn about horse racing. You get to learn about stock market betting. You get to learn about how to handle your 401k. You get to ask these questions to people that have been there and done that. And you can actually get a lot of value out of that $20. And then when the sports come back after Corona's over, you unclick your pause button and you come right back into the fold with the rest of us. That's what I'd like to see most people do. If you have questions, you can always look me up at Choppadong out on Twitter. You can always look me up inside our Slack rooms. Ask me any question that you want. I'm a pretty transparent, see-through guy. And I'd love to help you get better at any sport, any hobby that you're into. I'm learning horse racing now. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully this makes sense to you, and hopefully you guys have a good Easter and you guys have a good rest of the week. We will talk to you when we talk to you. Take care.